What's the name of this place?
The Self-Genius Hour of... Now.
I have absolutely heard of that place.
Sounds like a school for Neanderthals.
No, it's actually considered the Harvard of kindergartens.
We've found a sweet haven of sunshine at last. The exits are biting above. They'll scoop us with tentacles luridly cast, and smoothly they'll sell us some love. The tempest is our relief evermore. What slackness, what rupture is not. The danger will pass. We're rescued at last. The end days are here by and by. He sees us endangered and sends out his men to pilot our pink-beaten soul. The end times have teased us again and again, but this one's the true fist hole. The tempest is over, yes, safe evermore. What slackness, what rupture is not. This danger is past. We're rescued at last. The end days are here by and by. Shall control me through life and in death. On Bob all my money I'll spend. I'll praise him each hour of my last fleeting breath. Repentance like off to the end. The tempest is o'er. I'm safe evermore. What darkness, what rupture is not. The danger is past. We're rescued at last. The end days are here by and by. The tempest is over. We're safe evermore. What slackness, what rupture is not. The danger is past. We're rescued at last. The end days are here by and by.
We start with nothing. 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 We start with nothing and leave everything behind. No point in saving with a rainy day in mind. The sun will rise in the morning, sure as every night it sets. Maybe there'll be no warning from the men from Planet X. Who knows? Who might be next? Who knows? You might be next. Who knows? It's anyone's guess. Who knows? Hate it or love it. Who knows? It might soon be you. Who knows? It could be me too. Who knows? When your time is time. Who knows? If heaven is here, it's been one hell of a ride. We start with nothing and leave everything behind. No point in saving with a rainy day in mind. The sun will rise in the morning, sure as every night it sets. Maybe there'll be no warning from the men from Planet X. Who knows? Who might be next? Who knows? You might be next. Who knows? Anyone's guess. Who knows? Hate it or love it. Who knows? It might soon be you. Who knows? It could be me too. Who knows? When your time is time. Who knows? If heaven is here, it's been one hell of a ride. Leave everything behind. Leave everything Who knows?
Hey, you want to see a magical type trick? You want to see it?
Why,
Here,
sure.
Watch. I'm gonna do it. Behold.
Just show me the trick.
Want to do it stuff?
See, not everybody can do that, huh?
Show trick.
Impressed, eh? Huh?
Sure. Okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Can you teach me that?
Magic, man.
Can you show me how you did that trick? Can I see the secret of your magic?
The magician
reveal
doesn't
it?
like to reveal how he does his
Take
tricks.
away
I mean,
all
that
the
takes all the
magic.
glamour away. It's rather simple when you find out what it is. And
To
you
see
think,
the magic makes the magic go away.
Well, to see the behind the scenes, yes. Then certainly whatever you get for being an insider, you lose in your guileless appreciation of some magician's tiresome cliches. And
Something's not right. Something is just not
the
right.
magic land of Alakazam.
It's because you listen to these.
Oh, very special.
These things.
Bee stings? Have you got some more of them bee
These
stings?
tings. These tings, man.
Oh, it gives you a tingle, yeah.
Tings, yeah, tings. But this is different.
All
this
these
is something
tings.
different.
These bee tings.
Honey
It hurts.
badger don't care.
Honey badgers
Honey
have a
badger
tough
could fight Superman.
little skin. Well, imagine the tremendous danger a Kryptonian honey badger would represent. But
They are
fortunately,
masters of mayhem, too.
I don't think they had those on Krypton. They had all sorts of weird, bizarre creatures, but no honey badgers. But of course, they'd all be horrendously strong here on Earth, including the miniaturized ones in the bottle city of Kandor. Though they were only about as big as a
Miniature honey
a
badgers.
flea's foot, they would
Made out of
still be
kryptonite?
strong enough, in theory, to move the Earth.
What do you
So
think they did about animal control in the bottle city of Kandor? You know?
they must have had some way of controlling and keeping those creatures in the Kryptonian zoo in the
Well, not just
in
that.
the
What
bottle.
about rats and mice and things like that? I
Oh,
mean,
they're
they had
in a
to have-
good thick glass bottle, no rats and
Kandor,
mice.
But I'm
It's
talking
no
about
fun.
the tiny little mini rats and mice that came, the vermin that came along with the city.
But again, I don't know if Krypton had creatures like
Are you
rats
saying that
and
it
mice.
was that Krypton couldn't support a full ecological biodiversity that would have included even vermin? And,
Well, the thing
and
is, I
scavengers?
remember what was in the Krypton Zoo, and all those creatures were so weird that they didn't seem to be broken down into the divisions that we have on Earth.
But those were the exotic creatures. I'm really just talking about the common creatures.
Sure,
the
they're not
rabbits,
going to
the-
put the rabbits in the zoo.
Right.
They're going to put some exotic
or
creature.
even possums. You know, the possums are hanging around the sewer in Krypton. They're not, or in, you know, what was the main city that they lived in? I can't remember the city's name.
Well, the Kandor itself was a
Well,
city,
the,
but
the city on Krypton. Hey, you've got a mosquito on your head. There you go. You got it.
how dare they?
How'd that happen? It's probably a disease-ridden one.
Yes, he's
It's an
probably he just
experimental.
injected me with.
He probably broke out of an experiment.
haven't been feeling too well lately anyway. So a mosquito.
And now you don't. Something's
Was he
wrong.
biting me? I
I don't think he'd actually sunk his proboscis into your face yet.
That little bastard, if I catch him again, is this on?
Yeah, that's on. But
Well, I suppose since this is KPFA, I should speak of my reverence for all living things.
you're
Yes,
listening to
with the law, I'm
KFA.
part of the same
You, the
great
listener.
pilgrimage through life.
And some of you on KPFB, do you think people actually listen to KPFB in Berkeley?
Oh, I know they do, my dear friend.
Because they have KPFA. Why would they choose B if they have A?
Because that is the nature of people, to wish to differentiate their choices.
I think one of them is for when you're behind a tree and the reception's better, you know? And then, of course,
You mean,
if you're in Fresno, you have to be at 88.1 on
Now,
KFC.
you know how all this works, I guess. You sound very knowledgeable about
Oh, yeah, I know that you have to have 4 letters and at least 2 numbers. Although I never hear about, 100 FM. It's always 101 or
your special
101.3.
buzzword, I mean your password that you use to unlock the mystery.
They never say 90 FM or, it's never a round number. It's always, goes to some point, some fractional point on the dial.
Yeah, you should know why.
There's a very
Same
good
reason
reason.
gas is always $3.99.
Because the
19,
government has to put some
19.
points on the end. That's why.
No, it's a sales trick. Come on, you can tell people
89.3.
now.
You mean it's not just because that's where they cut the frequency range?
Nope.
And the megahertz are measured that way?
By
No,
megahertz
it's
is
to
right.
sell
I
the
feel like
numbers.
But what about the gigahertz and the terahertz and the
It all hurts.
bigahertz?
It all hurts. There's no differentiation.
Unless you're honey badger, nothing hurts.
No, if you've got a good, tough pachydermatous skin like a little honey badger, and the unpleasant disposition of a honey badger to go with it,
Kidding, they're fierce little guys.
I don't know if their disposition is that unpleasant. They're just not that cuddly, and so that's resented by humans who...
Humans
like-
hate ugly animals, don't they, Dr. Howe?
Well, they like little fuzzy ones to be fellow travelers and to get in line and not to act out of, not
But
get
they
on
won't
board.
invest in the preservation of the mosquito.
Why they do? Because once again, as I was saying before, agriculture makes it possible for the mosquitoes to live, and malaria comes after agriculture. Rice
That's
has
just
to
an
be grown
unforeseen byproduct.
in
That's
standing
because
water.
they can't think beyond their own, getting
The
their belly
perfect
full.
place for these insects to develop. Are you familiar with the appearance of a mosquito larva? As a child, I always observed these
yeah.
things with wonder. For one thing, it's larger than the adult mosquito, right? And it's all jointed with all these. I mean, it's a hideous, horrible
hideous,
thing.
horrible
Yeah,
thing.
it is. Well,
So are maggots, though.
maggots. But
That's
maggots
those sort
have,
of intermediate stages of a lot of animals.
Maggots have great
Particularly
use in
ugly.
treating open wounds. If you just pour maggots into the wound, they eat all the necrotic flesh
Yeah.
and leave the healthy flesh alone. So you were
That's generally what I do when I have a big necrotic wound that needs,
just dump maggots
needs cleaning.
in it.
I dump
Yeah.
maggots in it.
Right, that's the thing.
I've always done that to every necrotic wound I've ever had.
Really? Even like a sucking chest wound? And well, I gotta hand it to you.
And here it is.
No.
Okay, thanks.
It's all sticky.
Now,
and
what do I
baby.
do with it?
You can put it in the disposable chute over there.
Okay, I won't need it anymore. It's kind of been used. It's got some dirt on it.
Don't toss
drop
and
it on the
turn
floor a little
all
bit?
night with spiders in your hair.
On the pseudo carpet.
I wish that thing that we did earlier was about 5 times bigger.
You did a big thing, huh?
Yeah,
Well, that was.
I did a big thing, but it was only about 1/5 as big as what it should have been.
Well, there must have been expenses involved,
Dr. Hal, I've got to get something off my chest, and I think I can let you know about it because you're a know-it-all.
Well, it's something.
Don't you hate it when people say, that object is 5 times smaller than what it was, than the other object?
And why should I be particularly?
Don't you
bothered
hate
by-
it when they when they're talking about something that is a fraction of the other thing, that they use the word times to describe it.
Oh.
It's fractional proportion rather than the proportion itself. That drives me nuts. That just aggravates the life. That body in space is there's only, instead of 1/5 as large, they say it's 5 times as small. It's like a ridiculous series of words that mean nothing to me. When I hear a scientist or some supposed person
Yes,
with a reputation
whose
say that, it makes
time
me
are you
want to. It
talking
makes me
about?
want to reach through the radio and choke them to death.
Now, Philo, please remember your blood pressure.
I'm
Simmer
sorry,
down.
but this is just, some people have pet peeves. This is my pet peeve. When someone refers to a body that's a smaller proportion than the other one, they refer to it as some number of times smaller. You can't make something number of times smaller. A times is a multiple. Unless you're multiplying negatives, I guess you could.
Well, but that would be pointless.
It would be pointless.
Yes, multiplying negatives has no future.
So I got that off my chest, and I feel remarkably better.
Well, I am afraid that there are even a large number of sub-geniuses who use that expression while they're standing around chewing the fat at X Day.
Yeah, they say that, and they say, I'm like, you're
Speaking of pointless, here I am.
pointless?
Pointlists, you say?
I am eminently
Pointillious.
an expert in the pointlessness, the finer points of pointlessness.
Well, sometimes...
Well, don't you agree with my assessment of the previous statement and agree with me 100%?
Isn't a rounded version just as accessible as a
107%,
pointed version?
Just minimum, at least.
107%? huh?
Yes.
I'm glad. I'm really glad
Subliminally, minimally.
that
One
not only
might
do you
even
agree with
say
me,
that-
you agree with me more than I even agree with myself.
Yes, that's tricky, isn't it?
It is tricky, and it's awesome. I
I'm one
appreciate
step ahead
that.
of you.
I appreciate that because
Harmony
someday
in nature
I'm gonna appreciate me as much as you do.
is expressed through
Good.
curvatures.
Now, I have a
Curvatures.
question, though.
But chaos and destruction are expressed through points and
Just
angles.
nabobbing about thank you to the listener. How do you know you have a listener, and how do you know if they're actually listening?
They are theological.
There's
we
a
do make a
metaphysical
leap of
connection
faith
for
at
you.
the point where the second we know sometimes that we have a person that has engaged their computer with a stream on the internet. We know that there's
Well, they
software that
shouldn't
tells
be
us
on
that
their computer. I
the
don't know
computer
why you're
and its
encouraging that.
browser has engaged with the stream.
Yeah.
Oh, the
show.
dog
You don't know
was
which
the
hand is on the
dog
know
was
about
urinating.
anybody
at.
that's just
do you?
out there in the ether and they're listening to their
No,
radio.
I think
We
I
have
understand.
no idea what
you
that is.
said the dog was urinating on
Hal's
it.
stuck back
Bowser
in
was
the,
doing.
in
Dog
the
was
Vietnam
urinating on
War.
it.
Hal's still thinking about
I'm not
McNamara's
dowsing
electronic
your
fence.
browser, okay?
The browser, we know, so we do get an indication
Bad dog,
of that.
bad,
and we,
bad
we
dog.
like to
Yeah, all
extrapolate that
Are
and
you
say that
urine
syndicated or
stuff ended years
cylindricated?
ago.
Which exactly is it?
it's
Now we
bifurcated,
appreciate
Bifurcated.
it.
Uh-oh.
I'm not
What?
Twitter-pated.
He's a
addlepated more like it.
he's a banana split personality, apparently.
He's got a shiny
Got
pate.
bananas, I tell you.
La 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 la.
Is there another mosquito on me? And now it's on puzzling evidence. No,
going
it's
towards
it's
puzzling
flying
evidence
around.
face.
This is
Yeah.
utterly unacceptable.
I
He's
think
trying-
you guys,
puzzling
in
evidence.
all fairness, know some sort of Turing type test to determine whether a listener is actually a listener.
If it's a real human listener or a
Whether
robot
they're actually
listener.
listening.
The listeners have to take care of themselves. We have all sorts of
What if-
problems of our own.
Well,
to
we
deal
need a
with.
feedback system that where we can broadcast a certain number of repeated messages, and the listener would have to.
And we
repeat
need a
them back to us.
mosquito-free environment in order to
that
do
would
our
be a
show.
good start. So we're starting on Mars, I guess.
Yeah.
Too many
No, I thought
skeeters
There is a
in the
mosquito
control.
in here, and we're actually under attack. I'm telling the listeners,
There'll be no
all of you
mosquitoes
people
on
out there in
Mars,
the
I tell
ether
you.
zone, we're under attack by giant mosquitoes.
Get away! Get him away!
Really?
These are
Mars
Anopheles.
is going to save
Get
us.
him off!
These
Weather went haywire.
these mosquitoes are deadly. We've got to
Pretty sure
kill them.
Mars is going to be our salvation. What do
I'll
you
just
think?
give him a good smack. I
Sure.
will.
Sure, why not?
That's
Why
my
not?
blood in
Exactly.
there. Don't. That's good blood.
I bet you there's no dang shooting mosquitoes on Mars. Maybe something a lot worse, but at least we won't know what we're
No,
doing.
he's absolutely right. There are no mosquitoes on Mars that toot dangs.
Well, you're thinking
Yeah.
of that movie
There could
where
be a
they
mosquito. There could
did
be a
have
darn
mosquitoes
tootin'
on Mars.
mosquito
There could be
on
darn
Mars.
tootin', there could be college-educated mosquitoes, but probably none that. Pretty much, we're sure that none too dangs.
Well, we don't know.
And you don't know which
He's
college.
doing Pedro.
The only
man.
thing worse than a mosquito is a Harvard-educated one.
Yeah,
That would be a bad thing.
landing on
Next
your
thing you know, they're trying to
cerebellum.
ecology and all
A
this
mosquito
crap.
with a budget.
Or Sarah Palin or something.
yeah.
Hey, props to the protesters at Harvard right now. They're trying to get them to divest from fossil foolishness.
And they can take up extracting sunbeams from cucumbers.
I
Did
think
you
they
know that
should.
Harvard?
They should run on magic unicorn
I
juice.
don't know, they got like trillions of dollars of investments or something. They're the biggest, most heavily invested university in the world, and most of it's in fossil fuels, probably half of it.
Yeah, that's where the old
I don't know
money
why
came
you
from.
would
John
be
D.
investing
Rockefeller.
Why am I
in
concerned?
fossils,
Hey, there's a-
fuels when you've got unicorn juice.
What fuels we morsels be?
All you need is one unicorn, and you can power a whole country for a year.
But
One unicorn.
that's not a good use of it, though.
Well, we don't use all of the horn at once. We try to just whittle off pieces of it at a time, so as it
Then I
grows
guess
back,
you're
we
doing
can
it sustainably.
continue to
That's
keep the
okay.
unicorn trapped in their small
I'll have a
cage
plan. All right. As long as it's
and just
sustainably
more or less milk the horn over
If
time.
you say it's sustainably harvested, who am I to question you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who are you?
Yeah,
Take
who
a
am
break
I?
here for a minute so he can
You're
question
a
something
caller.
else, man.
You're an active caller, a
I'm
caller that.
ID. My
And-
name is ID. I call it.
And being a caller, I'll tell you that we'll be right back.
From PR News in Washington, I'm taking Yazidi women as sex slaves. The Centers for Disease is ramping up its efforts to protect the U.S. from West Africa. The World Health Organization warns that West Africa could start every week by December. WHO's assistant says West Africa has already killed more than 4,400 people in recent months.
The numbers we need to get behind are 70% of 60 and 76% of October.
Dow is 27, 16, 46, 61, 20, 42, 34.
I am doing well and want to thank PR News.
The prosecution says this is PR News.
Control my mind. Control my mind. Control my mind.
Mind Controlled by Bob by Slack T is playing in the background. We heard some PR news from Fernanda and Andy Lee Murr. And we heard about 15 minutes of the Puzzling Evidence show from KPFA Berkeley. That particular episode, Philo titled The Massive Frop Show. We'll probably be playing more of that next week because they continue to have trouble with those mosquitoes and callers if they aren't the same. Before that song, You Might Be Next, that was by Max Slack from a few years ago. And the very first song we heard was, the bluegrass song, was The Mutant Mountain Boys, recorded live at X-Day Drill of the conspiracy-named year 2014. In a little while, we'll be talking with Lonesome Cowboy Dave, but before that, we'll listen, well, I'm going to make you listen to the Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate Rap song. But in the meantime, back to Slack T.
Shoot them out of the sky and I'm hearing their cries. Let me collaborate, there's no escape. From the primal force to the great CMOs, getting ingredients but no recipe. Don't give up on my whole team's deployed. Gunning down these bombs like something of a Metroid. Ground like a black Diablo, I'm the OG Sonic and Mario. Yeah, I'm on the quest, break the terrain. Don't pray, no, gotta just terrorize now. I'm a monster inside. Enter rage mode, charging on my might. Every battle I engage is a final boss fight. Make sure these pieces made mythology all come at you, don't care about ecology. I'm no defender, I'm a fire starter. Decked out in my solo soul armor. Death try to flee, but there's no way you can. Bust the masters on the track with my name. Now more monsters than never before. It's no longer a hunt, it's the ultimate war. 98 different beasts and I've gotta stop them. Can't be overcome, I drop the hammer on them. Stand my ground, I got the power of will. Not to mention on this list of armor skills. To my allies, I'm a minion collar. And the city core still when I slay. Top of my game, feeling heaven's mouth. I'm the last one standing on my slay ground. Survival of the fittest when the world ain't safe. Say man shouldn't play, God, good thing I'm not playing. Hunter.
Yes, dear friends. We're Monster Hunters here. I could say that Monster Hunter is the official video game of the Church of the Subgenius, but I'd be lying because there's only about 5 of us that I know of that are that cool. Our music in the background henceforth, as far as I know, will be from an album, a CD we got last year, Princess Wee, from Chris Hand Luke. It's not Chris Hand Luke. It's Cool Hand Chris. I don't know what my problem was that night. I've known this artist for years. I have a big collection of his music, and I typed his name onto 5 audio files earlier that day. It's Cool Hand Chris. We played his stuff before. We got it before we left on our winter trip, and we brought it with us because we thought we'd listen to it in the car, but we had your mom with us, so we never did. We listened to that John Waters book on tape, the gay pornography, instead of this music, which we were unsure of. By the way, this Chris Hand Luke, no, it's Cool Hand Chris. And this album is called Junk Culture, if you want to look it up. Chris Hand Luke, that's Cool Hand Chris. Duh. Doesn't use digital music equipment for this. He, as far as I know, he sticks with all analog. Kind of like early Devo back in the day before Lonesome Cowboy Dave lived among us.
Yeah, I'm a lonesome cowboy, that's for sure. Lonesome cow pie.
Loathsome Cow Pie Dave. And how's How's popular cowgirl Davina?
I don't know. I haven't seen her in 24 years.
I was afraid of that. His old girlfriend. If that was a girl girl cow.
Well, home on the range isn't what you make it. You know, I wasn't trying to be narcissistic or even puddly by mentioning the fact that I'd had numerous animal girlfriends, if you want to put it that way.
Oh, I thought that was just a funny name. I didn't realize.
Well, it's still a funny name, yeah. Of course, it's a funny name. It's a funny hobby. It's a funny life for people who enjoy themselves and laugh and stuff, but not for me.
Funny.
Yeah, how can you be funny when you feel funny? I feel weird, man. I feel like the extra polarities have jumped. I feel like my sandals are cooking right now. I mean, I don't know what planet I'm on, but I don't care really. But I at least like to know where I can park. ADA required, you know. I'm sorry.
Pete, I've heard that if you have a bumper sticker with the face of J.R. Bob Dobbs on it, that gives you good parking magic. It has not worked for me. Our friend Dr. Dark swears by his little Beware Bob bumper sticker on the back of his car.
Yes, it helps you commune with the goddess Parkina.
Princess, you sound distant.
I know, the goddess Parkina.
I still couldn't hear her either. Can you hear me?
Swing some of those other mics around at your face.
Possibly,
that's a lot better.
My voice would have sounded better singing the backup on the Monster Hunter song.
It sounded like you were on the other side of the room.
Ah, well.
I didn't really realize that mic there isn't working.
I didn't realize that either.
The other mics are, but
yes, this one is apparently working.
Presents are important. Give me something, please.
Rubber blankets?
Yeah, I'll take a rubber blanket. I'll take a number of them, as many as you've got. And even prosthetic, like wooden prosthetic devices from the Crimean War, stuff like that. You know, where the originals, or I mean, not the Aborigines, but the generals. That's it.
Well, you know, Princess Wee was quoting a famous aphorism from the Book of the Subgenius that was originally uttered by the late Dr. X. It went like this: I can't decipher anything. Put me where you want me. Give me rubber blankets. I called it the drunkard's lament because that was something he actually said.
Yes.
I was come on, Dr. X, you got to go. It's time for bed. People are already marking you up with markers because you're passed out at this party. And he goes, I can't decipher anything. Put me where you want me. Give me rubber blankets.
Well, he was already familiar with rubber blankets. As you know, he went to Newtown Institute for quite a few years and was also drummed out of the courts.
Oh, those are all rumors.
Well, yeah, but it was a regular rate, so, it didn't jar him too hard. The fact that he wanted to join the Marines later and become a civilian autocrat after that makes me wonder if he's from planet Earth. Well, I got to get off this planet's kick. I have a deep desire to jump ship tonight. Get to some place where everything's blue and indigo and...
Hey, here's speaking of jumping ship or spaceship Earth. Actually, I have several things I could read from about that. Remember last week we got this book of this dissertation by Reverend Lee Cipher that was about the rhetorical ripples, Church of the Subgenius, Kenneth Burke, and comic symbolic tinkering.
I remember.
Here's some more fancy talk. Here's some more fancy talk, and it involves the end of the world, too. Burke concludes that the result of this quantified rational order, that is civilization, has been a crop of, quote, new material and moral resources that after nearly half a millennium seem to have been exploited to the point where they, in turn, are nearing their Malthusian limits, unquote. Now, Subgenius teaching in Revelation X acknowledges our impact on the environment and urges us to imagine being exploited by satirically, I gotta look up that word, satirically casting humanity as little more than toxin generators for exploitive intergalactic alien industry. And then it's a quote from Revelation X. I probably
that guy was probably artichoke back in 1978 when Project
over the aeons, aliens. No, this should be in my voice. Over the aeons, aliens have been sending planets across the universe. Let me start that again. Take two.
Yeah. Get in character.
Over the eons, aliens have been seeding planets across the universe with humans. There is tremendous intergalactic demand for planets having atmospheres ripe with deadly hydrocarbons, pollution, and heavy metal contaminants. It was long ago and far away discovered that if one takes a nice virgin carbon-oxygen planet of the right specifications, puts a few thousand humans on it, and leaves it alone for a couple of 100,000 years, upon return, it will be a wonderfully contaminated hell planet, a veritable cornucopia of synthetic poisons. The aliens then transfer the few surviving humans, the most ruthless ones, to a fresh planet to begin the process anew. Oh, yes.
Well, so the bad doers, the evildoers, are kind of like immortal or something. And also, I forgot what a Malthusian argument was.
Well, human intelligence and technological progress is such that we have an international space station continually orbiting the Earth, and we have a spacecraft exploring beyond our solar system, yet we continue to struggle with basic solvable problems like environmental degradation. Human intelligence has yet to keep our hubris in check and prevent us from unnecessarily contaminating our only source of life. Oh, well, we knew that. As Philo had the answer earlier in the show. Unicorn juice. Unicorn juice will run everything forever, peacefully, and without polluting.
That's right.
Safe for kids. It's beautiful substance. Milky kind of blue screen. It's wonderful stuff.
Yes.
Unicorn juice. Oh, yes.
I find the juice machines to be quite reprehensible, though, and I was going to call PETA or somebody.
Don't call PETA.
The juicers are very unhospitable, kind of tyrannical and subterfugious, too. Can you imagine stuffing a whole baby unicorn?
And no. The unicorn juice is it is an extract that is made from the urine of the unicorn.
What?
Yes.
What?
Unicorn juice is an extract of the urine of the juice of the.
I thought you milked the horn.
No.
I wouldn't have drank it if I'd known that.
I thought you put one into a squisher, and then, just drain off the material stuff and have the juice.
It's a distillation.
Anybody have a napkin or a glass of water?
Distillation.
I've got coffee in the other room.
Well, couldn't they conceivably, with nanotechnology, take that unicorn uterus and place it into another monkey much further and further away than the one that they already were talking to? Because those guys get confused, especially when they're in those sample groups, like at the mall. Did you enjoy product so-and-so? It's very wonderful. Here, is it like that?
Yes, try my tincture of unicorn horn juice.
Well, it would be like, did you find the tincture of unicorn juice lovable, smarmy, sweet? You check these different boxes, and then you jump up and you start smashing the pen against the pad, and you run out and you scream epithets as you leave.
Well, that's all beside the point, because we're not going to get any unicorn juice. All we're going to get is more bab. There's always more bab out there.
Bab.
I have a little poem about bab.
Poem?
It was.
Are you mocking the northeastern Ohio accent, specifically the Buffalo to Detroit?
No,
to Detroit accent.
I'm mocking all civilization. This lady, this person, name of Anne Glenn, if that really is its name.
Right, it could be Anne Boleyn. For all we
acquired
know, it's another. Speaking of another,
the book
headless
of the
wonder.
Subgenius and decided to write a poem based on the book. Now, so this is partly her. This is her additions to the Bob chapter in Book of the Subgenius. Okay, and this is real cute. I think y'all will like this. Bob is
okay.
Bob is the money a sucker spends. He can be your toilet paper when you wipe your rear end. Bob is war. Bob is peace. Bob is the president. He's the Indian chief. The key to the gateway is Bob's pipe. He's the fool of the universe, a tomato that's overripe. He's the laxative of the world. He's victory without a battle. Bob is the manna. Bob is a baby's rattle. He is the great work that sleeps. He's silence in the noise. Bob is Santa Claus who brings good kids their toys. Bob is the phoenix rising. He's the black goat of the woods. He's heaven's perfect policeman, a policeman in heaven's hoods. He's the sucker born every minute. He's the bank in which money is locked. Bob is your neighborhood. Bob lives on everyone's block. He's companionship when no one is there. He won't laugh when he sees you in your underwear. Bob is the friend who will never let you down. Bob is the circus. Bob is a clown. Bob is your dad. Bob is your brother. In a weird way, Bob is even your mother. Bob is a rock. Bob is a tree. Bob is you. And Bob is me. Says Anne Glenn, quoting the Book of the Subgenius. Book of the Subgenius.
Bob's your uncle.
Bob is your. Oh yeah, no, yeah. That she left that one out, but that was that wasn't. We didn't know about Bob's your uncle when we did the Book of the Subgenius.
That was because of the putrescence at the time. You said you had a mole with a split hair on the end of it or something like that, and that the Garbanians, or not the Armenians, but the real Garbanians, had been making threatening phone calls in your direction to try to get you to stop what you're doing in the Ministry of Bob.
Yeah, well,
that's some serious stuff right there, especially if you're from Illinois. If you know,
putrescence.
A putrescence, meaning it was not just putrescent, that it was an oozing thing itself of putrescence. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I had a quote from the news I wanted to run by you and run over you with it.
Okay, I'll slam.
Well, it was, I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but Paul Ryan, who's going to be running for president, he was saying that basically that poor cities like Baltimore are stuck that way because welfare pays too well. In other words, the poor are so rich that they have no incentive to become. Well, the whole thing, I'm just lost. It's too lucrative to be on welfare for them to get off welfare. Now, I've heard that, and so I always go, well, why don't you get on welfare? And they go, well, because I don't want to live in a box. But all I know is every time I see them buying fancy foods using food stamps, and I can't afford them fancy foods. Well, it's like, why don't you get on welfare? I don't want to live in a box. But they're too rich. It's like, well, look, they decided to spend their money on sushi instead of a roof for their box. It's one or the other. So I don't know.
All of life is a choice.
All I know is the poor are rich, and the poor rich get blamed for it. Those poor rich people.
I know it's really sad the way they treat rich people in this country. The 1% are really, really caring, loving.
The 1%? You mean the subgeniuses?
No, not the subgenia.
Because subgeniuses are also only 1% of America. And America is 5% of the whole world's population. And you know what makes us the greatest? We've got 1/4 of the entire world's jail population.
And that's what I like about it.
You
Keep
and
everybody locked up, feed 'em
the
McDonald's,
Texans.
Have crazy people like, come around and rattle their cages all the time, make them do stuff, beat them up occasionally and stuff. Of course, some of them are genuinely bad people, should be treated genuinely badly, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not a sport when it comes to ethics and violations of morality therein. But I do think one thing, if you accept Bob as, what should we accept him as?
Bab?
Bab.
What?
If you accept Bob as Bab, is that the way it goes?
You accept Bob into your mind.
Into your heart and mind and soul, into your very being, down to your toes, where your feet, in any place you can find, like maybe in your hair, in the dendrites. Oh, did I talk about the dendrites in your head? The spinal fluids everywhere. He's in our spinal fluids, and that's all I got to say.
I bet you're lying about that, aren't you, Dave?
No, but I've been drinking a lot of spinal fluid lately, and I know what it tastes like, if you know what I mean.
Well, I knew it wasn't all you had to say, is what I'm saying.
Well, I know, but all those words didn't amount to a hell of anything. That's what makes me want to cry.
But I don't know. You were talking about subgenius soul, and that is in your foot. So what's the complication? I don't get it.
No, there's no complication with that part whatsoever. The soles of the feet is a wonderful place to hang the soul, so to speak. But I think people who've actually hanged up some of their religious leaders in the future and the past should pay heed to where the soul is truly found. I just make it short, truly found. That's just the bees. Keep at it.
Hey, Princess, we went to
I can dig that.
Princess, we went to one of them smoke-ins last Saturday. She went to the.
I went
she
to the
went over
normal
to the normals.
rally.
Yeah, she went normal. Princess, we went normal.
Yes.
Mr. Sister, when he started reading my report on you going to the normal march, he went, "Oh no, it's gay and lesbian, transgender stuff."
You're kidding.
No, and I explained at the end of it, by the way, normal means National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Good.
He can't even remember the acronyms. That's when you take your finger and shove it in your ear canal that hard, that's what happens to you. And all not the anagrams.
Well, no, he said, it's marijuana. Well, that's okay. But see, let me clarify.
Well, it is okay, at least.
Princess, we don't care about marijuana. We're froppers. So why would we mess with street drugs like that? But, Princess, we did understand that the people at that festival would be part of the audience that would be interested in the Starwood Festival. The Starwood Festival, which happens to happen right after the world ends every year at the same place where we gather for the end of the world at Wisteria Campground. And in their case, it's the second week of July. And it'll be held aboard My Escape Saucer, Dobbs willing. But if we got our dates wrong again, it'll be at the same campground as X Day. Only there are more hippies there.
Jeez.
And that's why we weren't handing out X Day postcards at the free weed rally.
Ooh.
Not free weed, free the weed.
Yeah, free the weed. But I understand. I mean, there were people just smoking right out there on the street.
Yes,
weren't there? Did
that
you see
does
any?
happen. I did see it. Yes, I did.
That's for the ballot initiative, isn't it?
And you once again tried to win the contest, the oregano rolling contest. And only this time, last year she got second place, but this year she only got third place. Because the winner was so pretty. That's what it was.
Well, she came in second.
Her sticks that she rolled were terrible.
They were really
unusable.
Unusable.
But she was
cute and young.
Right. And so,
So I came in third instead of second. Doggone it.
So rather than the speed of the rolling technique, they were judging for the extreme beauty and the physical body marks and stuff like that?
No, not in theory, but in practice, that's what happened.
It would have to be both. You have to be fast, and they have to be a usable, workable cigarette when you're done.
So you could produce neither because you have no experience with that. You smoke frop out of one of those real long Tibetan monk pipes with the weird gargoyle on the end of it.
We pack it up our exit wounds. The wounds that Bob gave us. The blueness of the wound will not cleanse away the evil. Don't you see?
No, smoking is bad for you. We don't smoke.
Well, now in Dallas, I read they had a march. It ended up being peaceful by some miracle because listen to who all showed up for the Dallas protest.
Okay.
4 different groups.
We're all ears.
One was...
Speak for yourself.
One was Mothers Against Police Brutality, or MAPBA.
MAPBA.
Yeah, Mothers Against Police, because there's a lot of that going around. Well, the Immigration Reform Group, this is mostly Mexican Americans, I think, and their friends, showed up too to protest for immigration reform, the kind they like. Mm-hmm. Now, I saw pictures of this rally, and most of those people were on one side of the street, and they were all kind of skinny. Now, also, there was the Back the Blue, a pro-police group, who have some sympathy for the tough life of a tough cop. Mm-hmm. But also, because this is Texas, the open carry activists showed up. So you had a bunch of guys in combat outfits with huge rifles and ammo packs slung across their backs, parading back and forth across the street from the anti-police brutality. Of course, they were part of that Operation Jive Mind or Jade Helm or whatever. They're going to they were ready as soon as the police showed up to herd everybody at gunpoint into the Walmart detention centers and then run them through tunnels underground to the slave camps on the moon. These guys were going to stop the cops and anybody else who was an evildoer because they're good doers carrying big, big guns like they say everyone should. If kids in schools were packing, you wouldn't have these school massacres. I don't quite understand the logic. It seems to me like you'd have one every recess. But maybe kids are much more disciplined than I ever remembered. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Reverend Fid Chuli had an answer for this. I read about 2 minutes before we left, by the way. Mm-hmm. Reverend Fid Chuli said, less terrorism, more carerism.
Oh.
And he said, I'm going to hashtag that stuff and put it on the internet and save the world and make some money and maybe everybody will like me finally. Less terrorism, more carerism. That should be a bumper sticker with a peace sign on one side and a heart on the other and a cute little Scotty dog in the middle.
What a drizzle bit. You're allowed to say that, too, on the air.
Drizzle bit?
Yeah.
Actually, Reverend Fid Chuli had a whole rant that I saw just before I left, and I printed it out, and I'm not going to read it because we don't have time.
Well, we know the reason. What we need is for the aliens to come and get us the hell out of here. We don't need terrorism. It's not even a real word. It's a perfunctory item that's put into the language to make... Yeah, well, you already knew.
Perfunctory. Listen, he's using big words now. Perfunctory.
Now, he always uses big words. Yeah. What are you talking about, Reverend Stang?
But it's perfunctory. That is kind of perfunctory, I guess, I suppose you could say.
This is our Dave.
Oh, hey, here's a bad thing in that book, Dave. Here's a bad thing in that giant book about the Church of the Subgenius, which, by the way, you can find online.
Yes?
Well, sort of. It starts talking about this radio show, The Hour of Slack. And it says, named after Reverend Buck Naked's 1984 Naked Church newsletter, The Hour of Slack is the most prolific of Subgenius productions. that's actually not true. With over 1,500 live broadcasts beginning in October 1985 on KNON Dallas, and continuing today, I got to wipe the book off, in Cleveland on WCSB. Yay! Cleveland State student-run. Ooh, don't spit on this book. It's inkjet.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's running where on the word run. Cleveland State student-run radio station. That word ran. Reverend Ivan Stang is usually the central host of the show, along with Dr. Hal or Princess Wee, Stang's wife.
Notice anything missing?
Notice anything missing there, Lonesome Cowboy Dave?
Yeah, of course. So, yeah.
Actually, the guy who wrote this book asked me at one point, he says, now, Philo Drummond, is he the guy that's on the show with you all the time? And at that point, I thought, this guy doesn't really listen to the show, or he didn't then. He probably is right now, aren't you, Reverend Lee Cipher? Anyway, I realized, no, how could you think? Of course, Philo was on the show tonight, and Dr. Hal was on the show. And sometimes Dr. Hal is on the show in this room.
Yes.
Around X Day.
Sure.
For about 10 shows in a row.
Sure.
But, Lonesome Cowboy Dave, let it now be stated that since the year of 1991 or so, when I first stumbled into this radio station, led by Princess Wee and suggested by the late Jeff Rosenbaum, and I met the late, God, everybody's dead, the late Reverend Professor Chaz Smith, Lonesome Cowboy Dave was on his first hour of Slack. And that was 1991. How many years? 25 years. Lonesome
24.
Cowboy Dave is the only person who is even allowed to call the station during the show minutes
That
of
is
9 to
correct.
10.
That is correct.
No one, even if people pick up their phone and try to call the show, their phone will explode and blow them to smithereens. Don't even try it, kids. So that's the first thing I'm getting straight. He also seemed to think that Philo had created the Puzzling Evidence Show, whereas actually the Puzzling Evidence Show was created in 1982, before the Hour of Slack, by who? Puzzling Evidence. Philo became a guest on Puzzling Evidence, a co-host now, I suppose you could say, after 25 years. And Dr. Hal is another of those guests. But the very first people on what we would call the Puzzling Evidence Show were neither of those worthies, but Puzzling himself, yours truly, Reverend Ivan Stang, the great artist Palmer Vredes, and maybe Gary Gebrogfriend, who later became a major co-host until he moved to Santa Cruz. And Bob Nelson, whose show it originally was, which Puzzling Evidence gradually eased into his own possession. And yes, Princess Wee, I know we are approaching the end times of this end show. The time everyone's been waiting for. Well, I said that last week, and then I heard Puzzling Evidence said it. Puzzling Evidence said it months earlier, but I happened to hear it at the same time. The moment everybody's been waiting for, the end of this show. This show, the Hour of Slack. If you need more information, please see subgenius.com on the internet. And you can write to P.O. Box 181417, Cleveland Heights, Ohio 44118. Praise Bob.
Please, Bob, I'm hoping now I can give out your phone number, your own phone numbers for people to call me.
We'll copy the Firesign Theater again for those of you on drugs. Well, I guess Cool Hand Chris's music ended just as the show itself came to an end.
It was the perfection of timing.
That weird rumbling sound, but I couldn't hear anything.
That weird rumbling sound ended. Let's just put it that way.
And the weird rumbling sound was not a Borborygmi.
And, but speaking of Borborygmies, It's showtime! It's showtime! Following show host has just entered the room.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
And you're listening to radio station in the city of... And,
Just think of what they're going to get into when they start genetically modifying people from Cleveland, already full aware that it's DNA level C spelled backwards. I know that's an old joke and everything, but just imagine, since that's in, they're going to try to do that within 18 years. I don't know why they get such a ridiculous figure. I guess it's because it's under 20, but it's not over 25.
Insane show, and now we're signing off for bigger and better things in some
come on.
Land.
Don't try and butter me up. Bigger and better things, come on. Oh, you're moving on for better things. You've got
taller
better...
and louder things are on the way. Much taller and slightly louder and much...
Your night's about to get better. Mine's about to go in the toilet.
Far more intelligent.
Less deaf.
I'm still a sub-genius.
Barely.
Okay, there goes
Barely
Dave.
qualified.
Dave, start talking while I fade you out.
I admit I missed the last 2 X days.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of the